What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the part 3 video of the Nitrous install kit. We have been working on this car now for almost a week, doing all the nitrous stuff from the nitrous kit to the fuel system, and as you guys see, the table's full of stuff. Mainly a lot of this wiring, which is what we're going to be focusing on today. So stick around and hope you guys enjoy the video. So for the electrical, the first thing we have here is our little switch panel, and this switch panel goes right in this location there, so that you can close it and then flip it over and boom, you got your stuff here. As you guys can see, we have all the connections down here, and so the first thing we're going to do is go ahead and bring in the 12 volt switched power. That's going to send the power to this, and then from here, whenever we arm it, we're going to be sending the power to the controller, the power for the purge solenoid. It'll complete the circuit to purge and trigger the relay. Then this will be to send the power to our, instead of a heater, it'll be our two-step, and then the opener is not going to be used. To bring in the 12 volt power, you could tap off of your cigarette lighter. I have the Gen 5 DIY radar harness with the optional 12 volt power extension for extra accessories, and that is up here in this area. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run a wire from here back around under the car and then route it into this little center console. Alright guys, so I was already able to get the tapped wire from the back of this here, ran all the way and then under the car, and then here's where we're at now. Here is the wire that has the switch 12 volt coming from over there. Now here, like I said, we want to drill a hole probably down on the low side here on the bottom corner on this edge. And so we're gonna have to remove this front piece here, which is just pops off in clips, and that gives you access to route the wire through there. And then here, this back piece actually has two Phillips screws there. Wasn't able to completely take it off. I feel like I need to remove a couple of the pieces, but it is just fine because it gives us access to this panel right here that I'm pointing my flashlight at, my finger at. That panel right here is where we're going to draw our hole across to the inside. Now on the switch panel, there is a wiring diagram that I have posted, and I'll probably put it here on the screen right now, but that's what I'm going to follow. And you're basically going to have to send power to switch number 1, I believe. I think it doesn't, it's this one here. So you need power here. I need power on this one as well. I'm not using this model, and I need power on one of these purge little spades as well. Alright guys, so I've got my ground wire ran, and I actually ended up using the bolt right under on the bottom side there. That is on a metal bracket and should be a perfect spot for the ground. We're going to go ahead and test it. Now it's time to work on our switch panel, because like I said, it's going to have all the wiring. And luckily, when you buy a switch panel from Nitrous Outlet, they actually provide you with pretty much every connector you're going to need for the little spades in there. So you just got to make the wires up and then just plug them in. Alright guys, so now we've got all the wiring here. As you guys can see, we've got the grounds jumpered over, we got the power jumpered over all the way across. The only thing missing now, of course, is the outputs that we're going to be wiring to window control, to the two-step, and then of course to the relay for the purge. Now let's go ahead and test to see if there is power. These arming switches here both have a light on, so whenever you flip them open, they turn on so you can see if you have something activated. So let's go ahead and turn the car on. Still sounds really good. Turn the arm switch on, and bam, there we go. Our ground is good, everything's good, and then so when this is on, that means the nitrous kit is ready to go, and then the controller will be controlling everything. And then of course for the two-step, when this is on, that means we have two-step enabled and we have an RPM limiter to get this thing working. So that's really awesome. And then of course you'll be able to hit the purge button, and if these two work, then this is definitely getting power. Okay guys, so you see we took the filter off, and that is because here is how we are mounting all of our controllers. So the NOS mini controller is this right here. You guys can see it comes with these really heavy duty gauge wires, this super long kind of cable that goes to the little controller for making the settings. It's got ground, and then all these are controls and for the power that goes to the digital display, which is this one right here. This is where you do all your settings, and it plugs into this connector here. This is a perfect place to put it, and it gives me access to grounds like the body ground right here, which is very important because the way that the mini NOS controller works is it actually provides the ground to the solenoids, and that's how it turns them on and off. It doesn't provide voltage or power, it provides the ground. So that's what we're going to be using. And then of course our timing box is mounted the same right here, and this way, the way it's mounted there, it'll be away hidden and still be visible and accessible here to make my setting. So here we have it. As you guys can see, we've got the engine filter timing box still with everything accessible, and we've now started running the cables for the timing box. Now the timing box, guys, what I did, it comes with these two looms, and I probably could have ran this one through the back here and gotten me some extra space, but it fit just fine. It's not pulling on anything. But as you can see, you basically disconnect your OEM plug. So pull back on the red, pull back on this red, pop this OEM plug, and then the harness, it comes with one for each bank, has basically something that taps right in between it, and so you're just going to go through and use one on one side, one on the other. We are continuing along. I've already plugged in my two-step box, so that is in its place. Now all this bundle of wires here is from the Nitrous controller. This is the only thing left to wire up on the two-step and the timing box, and that of course is two of these that I'm going to be using for the RPM two-step mode, and then one for the timing retard. In here, guys, as you guys can see, I was able to reach everything, and now I've got the arm switch and the two-step already wired. The output from the switch is already there, and I was actually able to get the NOS controller here to kind of route it. It's long enough that I can have it sitting here, and I can always just disconnect this, throw it in the glove box, and put this out of the way. So that's really, really cool. Now let me go ahead and turn the car on and show you guys how everything is working. So we've got the car on and everything's off. You can actually see up in the hood the timing box has power, so we're good to go there. The car is running, is doing good. And then if we hit the two-step button, the light turns on, and you see a green blinking light, which means that the two-step is active. So if I was to floor it right now, it would only allow the car to go up to whatever RPM the settings are on the car right now, and that's what you see, the green blinking light. And as soon as you turn it off, the light's off. Now for the Nitrous, one way to know that the controller is activated is when we arm the switch here. You can see R and R, so ready and ready. Now of course we do got to go in here and do all the settings, but the display gets powered, so we've got everything going there, and we are good to go. Let me turn the car off. So I've also gone ahead from the arming switch, I've connected the wire, because we're going to also use that arm switch to turn the fuel pumps in the trunk. So we have to have the relay for the fuel system and all that to power on the pump is going to be in the trunk. So I went ahead and tapped in another wire already. Haven't cut it, I don't know what the length, but Anyways, we're getting there. I'm gonna go ahead and set the two-step like at 1500 just to show you guys how it works. And engine filter provides you with a nice cool little tool that has the flathead to make it easy to do the adjustments. So you can change the settings of the RPM limiter at any given time. You just have to do it when there is no power, so basically when the engine is off. So we'll turn the car back on. We have it at 1500 RPMs, and we're gonna go ahead and put it into sport so it could be free flowing. We're gonna go ahead and turn on the two-step. Now, if I floor it, I'm gonna go all the way to the bottom and you'll see what happens. See that again? Wow, those are some loud pops. Ooh. Apparently, you do not want to be doing that very often, especially if you have cats. I don't have any cats, so we should be good to go. But man, that was deafening. The pops are crazy. What did you guys think of that? That is pretty cool how I can basically turn it on and off with that switch. And whenever I have it off, it's got power, but I can go ahead and rev it, no big deal, and it does not matter. It runs and acts as normal, guys. So I'm gonna continue working. I'm gonna go ahead and do the fuel system stuff first, just because that all gets taken care of in the back, and once it's all done, we can finish up and wrap everything in the back and not have to worry about it. So we're gonna go ahead and route the 12-volt trigger wire signal from the center console to the trunk, and then start doing the relaying and all that on the back end. Here in the back, guys, we've got, of course, our ground and our power wires, and we've got this plug that you can use to quickly unplug. And so for the power back here that we're going to be using for our fuel pump, luckily they have this little small stud up on the top that we can tap into, and I just kind of routed it over this way just because I wanted it to have its own little area. But it does have this little cover that you can still slide and cover perfectly, and you have your wire coming out. So now we're going to route that here through this backside and attach to this, which is my inline fuse, and back everything's hidden back there. Everything is starting to kind of clean up here, guys. We've got our, of course, our little power wire here, and on the back side we've got everything already routed. We got the inline fuse going to the battery. We've got the actual 12-volt power going to the pump. We have our trigger wire now ran, and as you guys can see, we've got it right here, and this wire is going to be ran through here the side. It goes under the little flap there and goes under here, goes straight under the seat here, and comes in right in the middle, right under here. And now we've got the wire here for the fuel pump. So really only have two more wires to run through to the inside, and that is the trigger wire for the purge solenoid and the trigger wire to turn on the fuel, send 12-volt power to the main nitrous and fuel solenoid. So we are done with our switch panel here. So we've got it already nice and placed in its spot. It wasn't an exact fit, and it kept kind of coming up from the edge, so I put a little bit of double-sided Velcro there so that it'll stay in. Now what I want to do is, before I kind of do all that, I want to go ahead and turn the car on and test the fuel pump, make sure that the fuel pump is actually turning on when I hit the arm switch. Alright guys, so we've got the car turned on. Now what I got the tank open out there because I just want to make sure that I can hear the pump going. But whenever I turn the arm switch, you can definitely hear the pump start to pump. So check it out. There you go, pump is working. All right guys, finally got the bottle back on. And then of course when you lift this up, you've got your fuel system here. Really, really awesome. I'm super happy with how this all came out. Very, very simple. All the pieces are in the kit for you to get it done, and it looks OEM. The back is done, the interior wiring is all done. Now we just have to worry about doing the wiring for the engine bay and getting the throttle position sensor, which is just a plug and play. Continuing on here guys, next thing is our throttle position sensor, which is this blue and white wire from our nitrous control circuit, and that goes to the throttle position sensor or through the pedal. And we ran that wire down here, and one thing that we used was this JMS little TPMS extractor to get the signal. And this is a plug and play harness that goes basically in line and pulls out your throttle position signal wire, which is perfect for getting that tapped in wire, because the harness for the throttle pedal is very short and very difficult to try to tap or tee into, and this also allows you to not have to cut the harness. So alright guys, so moving on here, we've got our 3 relays mounted. We've got our main relay for the nitrous and fuel solenoid, we've got our purge relay, and we've got our relay that's going to convert the grounded signal from our nitrous controller to a positive 12 signal for our Lingenfelter timing box. So the way you do that with the relay is very simple. I'm going to put up a picture of it, but you basically wire this to the ground input of the relay, and then your trigger and your positive 12 volt, you tie those together, run them into your 12 volt source, and then the output is now a positive 12 signal. So it'll only output positive 12 whenever the ground signal is active. And so what I did here is I ran the ground signal through my Lingenfelter timing box here, and I'm going to route it under maybe around here, put it so it can be easily there. And then of course the output from that relay I'm going to try to run back through the same wire loom up and into here to go back and tie into our orange signal, which is our activation for the timing pull. So for the RPM tech signal, guys, I am actually going to tap into the Lingenfelter timing harness. Then we should have our tech signal and not have to touch anything in the harness, and these connections will all still be the same. Okay guys, so I'm almost done with the wiring for my signal to the timing box. Now compared to the trunk, guys, here on the fuse panel here, you see you have your main power coming from the battery, and you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different slots. Now these actually have the studs, so unlike the battery where we didn't have the studs, it was just like a plate, these actually have the studs. So what I'm going to do is use one of these unused slots. I've got a bolt here that screws right over it, and I'm going to jumper from here to my distribution block for my positive 12 volts. So I'm going to have one positive 12 volt wire here, and that of course is going to send the power through here to each individual thing. So really cool that they have the studs here, unlike the trunk. Alright guys, so we've finished up the wiring of the trigger signal for my timing box. I've got the tack signal tacked on here at the first coil plug, routed it through the harness of the timing box. Okay guys, so I've got my solenoids out because we need to install these transient voltage suppression diodes. These are going to go in between one side of the positive and the ground, and Lingenfelter recommends you put them as close to the solenoid as possible. So what I'm going to do is actually cut these wires and then put a splice and splice these in to each side, and these are supposed to help reduce the voltage from the triggering through progressive or anything like that, and that is very important for the proper operation of the timing box and RPM limiter. And it doesn't matter which way you can put it one way or the other. It does not matter according to Lingenfelter's instructions. The solenoids are back in with the diodes in place, and I went ahead and actually put them all in the same orientation with the positive on the left wire, and that's going to give me an idea of which wires to use for positive and which ones to use for ground. So still quite a bit, but we're going to go ahead and finish this off, guys. Again, like I said, we've got the ground wire for our fuel and nitrous, and then the ground for our safety pressure switch, which we got to route back around. So let's get to it. It is finally done, guys. Now I still have wires everywhere. I'm waiting for some wire mesh heat resistant loom to get here, and once that gets here, we'll have all these wires nice and wrapped around in a loom. Right now I just have them zip tied off, and I've got, of course, you see the power wire here. I'm probably gonna go ahead and undo the line here and make it go over so it can stay under, but everything is nice and good. All these wires here, guys, are all going to get wrapped in loom, so no worries there, but everything is put together. I went ahead and used this ground here, so I've got a short ground wire right in the middle, and then I've got the ground for the purge relay and the ground from the purge solenoid, so that's all taken care of. And of course our trigger for that came from inside, and the power is going back through as well, and all the power, everything is routed here from the main battery. Of course, I use that extra spare stud, and I've got my 40 amps for the main 2 relays, 15 amp for the purge solenoid, and then 5 amps is of course for my relay that converts the signal from a negative ground signal to a positive for my Lingen filter timing box. So guys, that is the wiring. Of course, there's a lot of space, and I was able to go through there. This video pretty much, again, cut and paste through all multiple different days. I'm on day 4, I believe now. I've just taken my time, and I am so glad everything's done. Now we just have to go ahead and test everything and ensure that my nitrous relays actually work, that my purge will work, and of course that my controller does everything that it's supposed to. And so I'm gonna go ahead and do all that, but you guys have to wait till next video for that. So part 4 will be us testing all of the electrical components and ensuring that everything is working. So of course you guys have seen the fuel pump stuff is working, but we still got to test the most important part, which is this here. Along with, we're also going to go ahead and adjust our pressure regulator and make sure that all that works as well.